like that, like 10 years from now, when something happened again. Oh, remember that girl Ashley Elkins was never found? They was digging in the garbage can for her, and all like Zion, where that was. And they found her body.
A mother of two left her house on Thursday morning to run a simple errand. She never made it back home. Her phone was on. It was ringing. No one picked up.
Give me that. My phone was dead. She ain't calling back at all. And her phone is ringing. Location off now. Y'all just keep trying to reach out to her, though. She trying to reach out to Ashley. Like her on Facebook, she ain't post nothing all day. She used to post something, so she ain't post nothing. She ain't answer no phone calls. Phone's been dead. Location off now. Phone ringing. She not answering. All I've been saying to her, she would have called back. She would have texted like, "Oh, I'm sorry, nothing."
The last signal from her phone led investigators to one specific address, her ex-boyfriend's apartment in Roseville, Michigan. The man who had shown up at her door 2 days earlier under a fake name. The man she had been trying to get away from for months.
The day he came to the house, he acted like he was a client, and he made an appointment with her. She was expecting that client. It was him. And they were in the house quiet. She told him to be quiet. He knocked on the front door and the side door, and then he left. And then here is 2 days later, she's gone.
When police finally searched that apartment, what they found was not the evidence of a missing person. It was the evidence of a crime scene. A dumpster hauled away, a car abandoned miles from the scene, and a search history on his devices that nobody runs unless they already know exactly what they did. DeAndre Booker was arrested. Ashley Elkins was still missing, and the worst part, she saw it coming.
Yeah, it's been 3 days. 3 days. And I just need help finding her. I just feel like I'm not having enough help. They just taking too long. It's been 3 days. They should have been on this a long time ago. I need help, y'all. I need help. I need people come and help and search and all the phone calls and all the leads. And I think y'all, it just ain't fast enough. It's been 3 days. It's been too long. It's been too long, y'all. I just feel like I'm not doing enough. Y'all just keep posting. Keep sharing. Just keep posting, keep sharing. All right.
Here we deliver clear, factual, and up-to-date true crime stories. Subscribe and turn on notifications to stay informed on the latest cases and investigations. Ashley Elkins was a 30-year-old licensed hairstylist living in Warren, Michigan. She was the mother of 2 boys, ages 7 and 10. She operated a home salon on Knox Avenue in Warren, building a loyal clientele through her work. She was also the eldest child in her family, described by those close to her as someone others relied on for stability and guidance. Ashley attended Warren Mott High School before completing cosmetology school and earning her license. She ran her business from home, which was both practical and personal. It allowed her to be present for her children while maintaining her career. She had recently expanded to a booth on 8 Mile Road as well. She was not someone who dropped out of contact. Her family described a consistent pattern of communication. Daily calls, check-ins, text exchanges. She had 2 sons who she spoke to regularly. Her mother, Monica Elkin, described Ashley as a person who would never let her phone go unanswered for long, and who would never go days without contacting her family. That communication pattern is what made January 2nd, 2025 immediately alarming. At approximately 8:30 in the morning, Ashley Elkins left her home on Knox Avenue in Warren, Michigan. She told her family she was running errands, which included a trip to a beauty supply store. That was the last time anyone in her family saw her in person. Her mother, Monica, arrived at Ashley's house roughly 10 minutes after she left, around 8:40 a.m. Monica attempted to FaceTime Ashley not long after. Ashley did not answer. This was immediately out of character. Monica texted her at 9:06 a.m. and received no response. Ashley's phone then went to voicemail repeatedly, and when her family attempted to track her location using the Find My feature on her iPhone, her location sharing had been turned off. Her phone had been ringing. It was not dead, it was not off, but no one was answering. The location was disabled. This combination of a live phone, no response, and disabled location sharing was the first concrete signal that something was wrong. The family used the last known ping from Ashley's phone before location was disabled. That ping placed her at an apartment complex in Roseville, Michigan. That apartment complex was the residence of her ex-boyfriend, 32-year-old Deandre Booker. Deandre Booker, 32 years old, lived in Roseville, Michigan. He had been in a relationship with Ashley Elkins, but the two had broken up in September 2024. According to Ashley's family and people who knew them both, the relationship had initially appeared stable and serious. Deandre had been integrated into Ashley's family, present at gatherings, around her children, involved in her personal life. Her family described him as someone they trusted and welcomed. However, Deandre had a documented history that's not fully known to Ashley's family during the relationship. He had served in the U.S. Army and was less than honorably discharged. During his military service, he faced charges including larceny of private property and possession of fraudulent identification documents. In 2017, he was also charged with desertion, going absent without leave, AWOL, from his post. He was not dishonorably discharged, but his separation from the military was classified as less than honorable. After the breakup in September 2024, Deandre did not accept the end of the relationship. What followed over the next several months was a documented pattern of stalking and harassment. After Ashley ended the relationship, Deandre began exhibiting behavior that, in hindsight, formed a clear escalation pattern. He had reportedly gone through her phone during the relationship, expressing jealousy over her male clients who came to the house for hair services. This possessiveness was one of the reasons Ashley had expanded to a booth on 8 Mile Road, to separate her professional life from the tension he created at her home. After the breakup, that tension did not stop. People close to Ashley reported that a car was frequently seen following her. On at least one occasion, Deandre attempted to book an appointment with Ashley through her website under a false name. Ashley discovered the ruse when she recognized something about the booking that didn't add up. She called Deandre, and he admitted he had made the fake appointment because he wanted to see her. Deandre also maintained multiple Facebook accounts, reportedly 6 or 7 separate pages, with overlapping connections. The same small group of accounts would consistently interact with his posts, which raised suspicion among those monitoring his activity. This multi-account behavior was consistent with someone managing an online presence under false identities, which fit his known history of using fraudulent identification. 2 days before Ashley disappeared, DeAndre showed up at her house in Warren. He arrived under the pretense of being a hair client, knocking on both the front door and the side door. Ashley was home. She recognized the situation for what it was and told people inside the house to stay quiet.
The day he came to the house, he acted like he was a client, and he made an appointment with her. She was expecting that client. It was him. And they were in the house quiet. She told him to be quiet. He knocked on the front door and the side door, and then he left. And then here is 2 days later, she's gone.
DeAndre left after receiving no response. 2 days after that visit, Ashley was gone. When Ashley's family was unable to reach her throughout January 2nd and into the following days, they reported her missing to authorities. The last known location of her phone, DeAndre's apartment complex in Roseville, was a key piece of information from the start. On January 7th, 2025, 5 days after Ashley disappeared, investigators located her gray 2009 Chevrolet Malibu. The vehicle was found a few miles from DeAndre's apartment complex in Roseville. The car being abandoned near his residence significantly tightened the focus of the investigation. That same day, Michigan State Police and forensics teams executed a search warrant at DeAndre Booker's apartment in Roseville. The search of his residence was extensive. Investigators collected several items of evidence. Among the most significant findings were digital records, internet search history on devices connected to DeAndre that included the following queries: Is blood traceable? How to beat a polygraph? Fastest routes from Flint to Ohio? What to do on the run? Deleting Google history. These searches were accessed during a period after the events believed to involve Ashley's disappearance. The searches indicated that DeAndre had been preparing for law enforcement scrutiny and potentially planning to flee the state. In addition to the digital evidence, investigators also found physical evidence at the apartment. A dumpster at the complex was flagged as significant. It was wrapped in crime scene tape and towed away for analysis. Evidence found both inside the apartment and within the dumpster pointed to foul play. Law enforcement sources indicated this included what appeared to be blood evidence. After Ashley disappeared, DeAndre did not remain in Roseville. He traveled to Flint, Michigan. It was during this time in Flint that the internet searches described above were made, including searches for routes from Flint to Ohio and information on evading law enforcement. He was located in Flint by investigators and brought back to the Roseville area. Before his arrest, DeAndre was interviewed by detectives. During that interview, he made multiple statements to investigators that were directly contradicted by objective evidence, including video surveillance footage. He provided false accounts of his own location and gave a false account of how or why Ashley may have left his apartment complex. These misstatements formed the basis of the criminal charge filed against him. On January 8, 2025, DeAndre Booker was arrested and charged with lying to a peace officer in connection with a violent crime investigation. The charge carries a maximum sentence of 4 years under Michigan law. At his arraignment, the prosecution laid out the case for a high bond amount. The prosecutor argued several points. First, DeAndre had made material false statements to detectives about both his location and Ashley's. These statements could be directly disproven using video evidence. Second, his military history demonstrated a documented willingness to flee. He had gone AWOL from the Army in 2017, and his conduct after Ashley's disappearance showed the same pattern, traveling to Flint and researching routes to Ohio. Third, the underlying matter, though not the specific charge, involved what investigators described as a violent crime. And if Ashley was still alive, the public risk of DeAndre remaining free was significant. The prosecution requested a $500,000 cash bond with no 10% option and a GPS tether as a condition of any release. The judge set bond at $250,000 cash surety with a steel cuff GPS tether as a condition of release. A probable cause conference was scheduled for January 22, 2025, and an examination date was set for January 29, 2025. Following the evidence collected from the dumpster at DeAndre's apartment complex, investigators turned their attention to the Pine Tree Acres landfill in Lenox Township. The working theory was that evidence, or Ashley's remains, may have been transported there via the waste removal chain. Law enforcement, including dozens of officers and volunteers, conducted a grid search of the landfill over multiple days in freezing temperatures. The terrain presented serious challenges. The trash was densely compacted, making movement across the surface difficult.
Well, we got some objects we are taking back for processing. We're not sure if they're related to the case or not, so we got to do some more work on that. I think we're in the right spot. We just got more work ahead of us.
Bulldozers were used to move sections of waste, and officers followed on foot to search manually. The search extended for at least 4 days of active searching. Crews from multiple states, including volunteers from Canada and Ohio, joined the effort at various points. At the end of each day, investigators confirmed they were not stopping and would return the following morning. The family was kept informed. At one point, law enforcement met directly with Ashley's family and informed them that based on the evidence collected, investigators believed Ashley had been murdered at DeAndre's apartment, with the likely timeframe being late Thursday night into early Friday morning, meaning the night of January 2nd into January 3rd, 2025.
Chief Berlin, and we met with multiple deputy chief, and they gave us an update on what was found yesterday. What they indicated was there was substantial evidence collected at the home of the ex-boyfriend. They also indicated that based upon that evidence, that Ashley was murdered. They don't have her body at this time. They do have good leads on where her body is. They have a strong suspicion of where she may be.
The boys, 10, 7 years old,
Yes.
won't have a mom anymore.
No, they won't.
What happens next for them?
It's going to take a lot of family. Everyone here is going to take the love and support of the family. They do have their father. They have grandparents. Everyone's going to embrace them and support them. That's actually starting now. The healing starts now.
By the time of DeAndre's arrest and the ongoing landfill search, the evidentiary picture was substantial, even though Ashley had not yet been found. Physical evidence at the apartment pointed to violence having occurred there. The dumpster was treated as a critical piece, suggesting an attempt to dispose of evidence after the fact. The vehicle, Ashley's Malibu, being located close to the apartment complex but away from it suggested it had been moved post-incident. The digital evidence, the internet searches for blood traceability, polygraph evasion, and escape routes pointed directly to consciousness of guilt. These were not casual searches. They were conducted in a specific order, in a specific time frame, by someone who had traveled from the scene and was researching how not to be caught. DeAndre's false statements to investigators, which could be refuted by surveillance video, added a direct obstruction element to the case. Prosecutors stated openly that they expected the charges to be enhanced as more evidence was processed. The lying to a peace officer charge was described explicitly as a starting point, not an end point. The visit DeAndre made to Ashley's home 2 days before her disappearance deserves specific attention because it demonstrates premeditation in a clear way. DeAndre did not knock on Ashley's door as himself. He booked an appointment on her website under a fake name, posing as a client. He then arrived at her home. He knocked on the front door. He knocked on the side door. He received no response because Ashley recognized the situation and told people inside to be quiet. He left. This was not an impulsive decision. DeAndre researched her schedule, used a false identity to book a slot, drove to her home, and attempted to gain access through 2 entry points. When he failed, he left. 2 days later, Ashley was gone. The prosecutors described the act as premeditated and stated they would seek to enhance the charges to reflect that classification once the evidentiary record was complete. The use of a fake name to gain access to Ashley's home, followed by her disappearance 2 days later, supported the argument that the events of January 2nd were planned, not spontaneous. Looking at the full timeline of DeAndre Booker's behavior from the end of the relationship in September 2024 through January 2025, a clear pattern emerges. September 2024, relationship ends. DeAndre does not accept the termination. October through December 2024, reported stalking behavior begins. A car is seen following Ashley. DeAndre creates and operates multiple Facebook accounts. He books a fake appointment and admits to it when confronted. December 31st, 2024/early January 2025. Ashley is at home for the holidays. She cooks for New Year's Eve. Her family describes her as in good spirits, not in any distress, focused on her children and her work. December 31st or early January 2025, DeAndre visits Ashley's home under a false name. She does not let him in. January 2nd, 2025, 8:30 a.m. Ashley leaves home to run errands. Her phone is last pinged at DeAndre's apartment complex in Roseville. She is never seen again. January 2nd through January 7th. Ashley's family files a missing persons report. The search for her intensifies. January 7th, 2025. Ashley's car is found near DeAndre's complex. His apartment is searched. Evidence collected includes apparent blood evidence, dumpster contents, and digital search history. January 8th, 2025. DeAndre Booker is arrested for lying to a peace officer. January 8th onward. Landfill search continues. Forensic analysis of collected evidence is ongoing. Prosecutors state that enhanced charges are expected. At the time of the documented events in this case, Ashley Elkins had not been found. The landfill search had not produced her remains. Forensic results were still pending. DeAndre Booker was in custody on the lying to a peace officer charge, held on a $250,000 cash bond with GPS monitoring required if released. Enhanced charges, expected to include murder, were described by prosecutors as forthcoming once the full evidentiary picture was assembled. Investigators from both the Warren Police Department and Roseville Police Department were involved, with Michigan State Police Forensics contributing to the search and processing of the apartment. The case was described by law enforcement as one where they were confident in the direction of the evidence and where the charge filed was a first step rather than the final one. The Ashley Elkins case is a documented example of how stalking escalates and how warning signs, even when recognized, do not always prevent tragedy. Ashley identified DeAndre's fake appointment. She told her family. She stayed quiet when he came to her door. She took precautions by moving her client work to a booth away from her home to reduce conflict. None of it was enough. The case also illustrates the difficulty families face in the immediate aftermath of a disappearance. The pace of investigation does not match the urgency felt by those who know the missing person best. Ashley's mother described not knowing what day it was, not sleeping, waiting for something to change. The family was informed of investigators' conclusions before Ashley was even found. The evidence trail in this case, digital, physical, and behavioral, is extensive. The prosecution's stated position was that the lying to a peace officer charge was a placeholder, while forensics caught up with what investigators already believed happened. The premeditation argument rested on a clear foundation: a fake appointment, a visit to the door, and then, 2 days later, Ashley left her house and never came back. DeAndre Booker searched for how to make blood untraceable. He searched for how to beat a polygraph. He drove to another city and looked up how to get to Ohio. He deleted his search history. And then he was arrested. The case against him, even at its early stage, was built on his own words and his own search history as much as on anything else. Ashley Elkins was 30 years old. She had 2 sons. She ran her own business. She cooked for her family on New Year's Eve. She left the house on a Thursday morning to go to a beauty supply store. That is the last confirmed fact about her movements. Everything after that is evidence of what someone else did. Thanks for watching. Did you find this case informative? If you want more true crime stories, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications.